Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. This time, we're going to be taking a look at the life of Bob Uecker, the legendary Milwaukee Brewers broadcaster who just recently passed away. Now, you probably remember him from Major League or those Miller Lite commercials he did back in the day.
Yeah, he was a funny guy.
But his story goes way deeper than that, and frankly, it's pretty fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. Bob Uecker, he was so much more than just a funny man.
Right.
He was the voice of the Milwaukee Brewers
Yeah.
for over 50 years. And his connection with that team, with that city, it was truly special, a really special thing.
Well, let's start with his baseball career.
Okay.
Because he was quite the storyteller,
Yeah.
even when it came to his own, well, let's say, unique hitting stats.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because before he was this legendary broadcaster, Uecker was actually a professional baseball player. He played catcher for 6 seasons.
Wow.
But he finished with a .200 batting average.
Oof, that's rough.
Not good.
He had a great joke about that, though,
I'm sure he did.
about signing with the Braves. He said, I signed for $3,000, which upset my father because he didn't have that kind of money to pay the Braves.
He always had that self-deprecating humor,
Yeah.
which made him so relatable.
Right.
But what's amazing is that he actually hit home runs off some of the greatest pitchers of all time.
No way.
Sandy Koufax, Ferguson Jenkins, Gaylord Perry, all of them.
That's incredible.
He always found a funny way to tell those stories, too.
Well, how did all that time on the field actually shape his comedic style later on? Did it give him, like, a unique perspective that other broadcasters didn't have?
Oh, absolutely. Those years playing baseball, they gave him an endless supply of stories and material.
Makes sense.
Plus, he wasn't ever afraid to poke fun at himself.
Yeah.
Which made him even more endearing to the fans, Like, he knew how to turn even a strikeout into a funny anecdote.
That's a talent.
It is.
So then he went from playing to being the voice of the Milwaukee Brewers, right?
Yep. And get this, he stayed with them for over 5 decades. That kind of loyalty, it's almost unheard of in pro sports.
Yeah, for sure.
It really shows you how much he loved that team and the city of Milwaukee.
It really does.
Yeah.
I bet he had some incredible stories from those 50 years.
Oh, I'm sure.
So for people in Wisconsin, like, listening to Bob Uecker call a game,
Right.
it wasn't just about following the game, was it?
No, not at all. It was a tradition, part of their lives,
Right.
Like, for a lot of folks, listening to Uecker was as important as the game itself.
Really?
He was like a friend sitting next to you on the couch.
Yeah.
Sharing his witty observations, making you laugh, even if the Brewers were losing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Did he have any particularly memorable calls?
Oh, there's so many. But there's one that always stands out.
Which one?
His call of the Brewers' comeback win
Okay.
on Easter Sunday, 1987.
Okay.
They were on this historic winning streak, and they pulled off this incredible victory in the 9th inning.
No way.
It was unbelievable. Even if you weren't there in person, you could feel the excitement in his voice, that joy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a moment that still gives Brewers fans chills.
It sounds like he was really a part of the Milwaukee community.
It was.
But, I mean, his fame, it extended way beyond Milwaukee, right? Like, he was on The Tonight Show, did all those Miller Lite commercials,
Yeah.
and even started Major League.
That's right. He became this national figure.
Wow.
But what's interesting is that despite all that fame, he stayed deeply connected to Milwaukee.
That's pretty rare.
He could have gone to a bigger market easily,
Oh, yeah.
but he chose to stay with the Brewers.
That's loyalty,
It is. It says a lot about him.
for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of loyalty, I got to hear more about his contract or lack thereof with the Brewers.
Yeah. That's a good one. So for most of his career,
Yeah.
Bob Uecker didn't actually have a formal contract with the Brewers.
Us?
It was all handshake agreements with the owners.
Get out of here.
He trusted them. They trusted him.
Seriously.
That kind of relationship. You just don't see that anymore in professional sports.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
It really says a lot about the kind of person he was.
It does.
Like, he valued loyalty and trust above all else.
I think so.
Yeah.
It also says a lot about the Brewers organization at the time, too,
How so?
They treated him like family,
That's nice.
and he responded in kind.
I love that.
It was a good relationship.
Well, how did the Brewers honor his legacy? I feel like they did something pretty special, right?
They did. They put up a statue of him
Oh.
right outside the Brewers Stadium.
That's awesome.
It's a permanent tribute to all his contributions to the team and the city.
That's great.
Yeah, a real symbol of his presence there in Milwaukee, his lasting presence.
I love it.
It's a good one. And we're back, diving deeper into the life and legacy of Bob Uecker.
Yeah, picking up right where we left off, exploring, what made Bob Uecker such a captivating figure.
Right.
Last time we talked about his unusual journey from a less than stellar playing career
Right.
to a broadcasting legend, his nationwide fame through TV and movies, and his unwavering loyalty to Milwaukee.
It really is remarkable how he managed to achieve so much while staying true to himself and his roots,
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty cool.
Well, let's dive into his broadcasting style a little bit.
Okay.
What made him stand out from other commentators?
Uecker had this incredible ability to seamlessly blend insightful commentary
Okay.
with his signature humor, right? He could describe a play with expert precision,
Right.
and then in the next breath make a joke that would have you laughing out loud.
So he wasn't just calling the game.
No, not at all.
He was entertaining the audience, too.
Exactly.
It sounds like he had a really good sense of timing.
Oh, impeccable timing, yeah.
Like he knew when to be serious and when to lighten things up.
Yeah, and he always did it with that perfect, impeccable timing. And I think that's one of the things that made him so popular, right? He could keep you engaged and entertained, even if the game itself wasn't all that exciting.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you think his background as a player
Yeah.
influenced his commentary at all? Did it give him a different perspective?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, having been a player himself, he really understood the nuances of the game
Yeah.
and the personalities of the players. He could really relate to their struggles
Right.
and celebrate their triumphs in a way that someone who had never played professionally simply couldn't.
So it's like he had this, insider's perspective
Exactly.
that allowed him to connect with the players and the fans on a deeper level.
I think so, yeah, because he understood the game from both sides.
Right.
It wasn't just calling the game for him. He was sharing his love of baseball, his unique insights with the audience.
I see.
And he didn't shy away from using his own experiences, even the less than flattering ones,
That's for sure.
to add a little color to his commentary.
That's cool.
It was good stuff.
And we can't forget about his signature self-deprecating humor.
Oh, of course not.
He never seemed to miss an opportunity to make a witty quip, even when the Brewers were losing.
That's right. And that's one of the things that made him so endearing.
Yeah?
He never took himself too seriously, and he could always find a way to make people smile, even when their team was down.
It's like he understood that baseball is, at its heart, a game.
It is.
And games are supposed to be fun, even when you're losing, right?
Exactly. He never let the pressure of the moment or the score of the game get to him. He was always there to entertain and engage the fans.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people felt such a strong connection to him.
Speaking of that connection, Uecker had an amazing bond with the people of Milwaukee.
Oh, he did.
He wasn't just a broadcaster, he was a local icon.
He was. It's true.
For generations of Brewers fans, listening to Bob Uecker on the radio was a beloved ritual.
Right, like having a close friend just narrating the game, sharing stories and jokes along the way.
It wasn't just a voice on the radio, it was part of their lives.
Yeah.
It sounds like he brought a sense of community to the experience of being a Brewers fan.
Exactly. He was this familiar presence that brought comfort and joy to people's lives, having a member of your own family calling the game.
Oh, I love that.
And his impact, it went way beyond the baseball diamond, too.
Right, because Uecker's humor and his charm, they transcended sports.
They did.
He became a beloved figure in popular culture through his appearances on talk shows.
Yeah.
Those memorable Miller Lite commercials.
That's classic.
And even some movie roles.
Right. It's true.
So it wasn't just sports fans who loved him. It was people who appreciated his humor, his authenticity, and his ability to connect with, just about anyone.
He had this universal appeal that resonated with people from all walks of life.
That's quite a legacy.
It is. It's a testament to his genuine personality and his ability to connect with people just on a human level.
Right.
He was just a good guy.
Well, so far we've talked about his broadcasting style, his connection with the fans, and his impact on popular culture.
Yeah.
But what about his contributions to the game of baseball itself?
Oh, absolutely. Uecker was a true ambassador for the sport.
Okay.
He promoted the game with this, infectious passion and enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And he inspired countless people to become baseball fans.
That's great.
He really did.
It's like he made baseball accessible and enjoyable for everyone, regardless of their level of knowledge about the game.
Right.
He had a way of explaining things that made even the most complicated rules and strategies easy to understand.
Exactly. He could describe the intricacies of the game in a way that was both informative and entertaining.
Yeah.
And he could make even the most mundane moments exciting, you know? He was a master storyteller.
It's like he had this, magical ability to make everyone feel like they were part of the game, even if they were just listening on the radio.
He brought the game to life.
He did.
Precisely. And that's what made him such a special figure in the history of baseball. Right.
Nobody else quite like him.
Now, I want to circle back to something we mentioned earlier about his self-deprecating humor.
Oh, yeah.
It really was a defining part of his personality and his career.
It was.
He seemed completely comfortable making fun of himself.
It did.
And he did it with such wit and grace.
It was disarming and endearing.
It was.
He never took himself too seriously.
Yeah.
And he never seemed afraid to laugh at his own mistakes or shortcomings.
Yeah.
It was refreshing.
And I think that's one of the reasons why people loved him so much, right?
I do too.
He was relatable, authentic, and never acted like he was better than anyone else.
Yeah.
And in a world where everyone seems to be striving for perfection, Uecker's humility and self-awareness were just incredibly appealing.
They were, exactly. He was comfortable in his own skin, and he embraced his imperfections.
Yeah.
It was a good reminder that it's okay to not be perfect, that we all make mistakes, and that sometimes the best thing you can do is just laugh at yourself. It's a powerful message, and one that resonates even more strongly in today's world, where social media often presents this curated, idealized version of reality.
I agree.
Uecker was the opposite of that.
He was real.
He was real, flaws and all.
And people loved him for it.
They did.
He reminded us that it's okay to be ourselves, to not take life too seriously, and to find humor in the everyday moments.
I think that's a beautiful legacy to leave behind.
It is. I agree.
Bob Uecker's legacy is one of humor, humility, and a genuine love for the game of baseball.
That's it.
He was truly one of a kind, and his impact will continue to be felt for generations to come.
Absolutely. His impact will be felt forever.
He showed us that it's possible to be successful without sacrificing your integrity or your sense of humor.
It's a good lesson.
And that's a lesson worth remembering.
For sure.
I think that's a perfect place to pause our deep dive for now.
Okay.
We'll be back soon to explore the lasting impact of Bob Uecker's life and career.
We'll delve a little deeper into the reasons behind his enduring popularity and the mark he left on the world of baseball and beyond.
Looking forward to it.
Join us then for the final part of our deep dive into the life and legacy of Bob Uecker.
Welcome back to our final part of our deep dive into the life of Bob Uecker.
We've really gone through it all, haven't we?
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
His baseball career.
His incredible broadcasting style.
His rise to fame across the country.
And his just unwavering dedication to Milwaukee.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, right?
Yeah, full of laughter.
Oh, that's so many laughs.
Heartwarming moments.
Yes, absolutely.
And just, a deep appreciation for this really unique legend.
He was a special guy.
But now we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit and focus on Uecker's enduring legacy.
Right.
What was it about this guy that made him so beloved, not just in baseball, but in American culture as a whole? What are the lessons we can take away from his life?
That's a great question. And I think it really goes beyond just baseball, It's about his character, his values, his ability to approach life with humor and humility. Yeah.
These are qualities that resonate with people far beyond sports.
It's true. He seemed to have this genuine quality that people were drawn to.
He did.
Even when he was on The Tonight Show or doing those Miller Lite commercials.
Yeah.
He never seemed to lose sight of who he was, you
Right.
know? He stayed true to himself, even surrounded by all that fame.
So true. And he never forgot where he came from either.
Yeah?
He could have easily gone after those bigger, flashier opportunities.
Yeah.
But he stayed loyal to Milwaukee.
Yeah, and that loyalty meant a lot to the fans.
Oh, yeah.
They saw him as one of their own.
Right.
A guy who just, never got too big for his britches.
Exactly. He was still that kid from Milwaukee who loved baseball and never took himself too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a big part of his appeal.
I agree. He was relatable, authentic, down to earth.
Yeah.
In a world that often feels really artificial and image-driven.
Yeah.
Bob Uecker was refreshingly real.
He was. And let's not forget that humor.
Oh, of course not. It was such a huge part of who he was.
It was. He always found a way to make light of things, even when the Brewers were having a terrible season.
Yeah. That self-deprecating humor was his trademark.
It was. It was disarming, endearing, and it made him so incredibly accessible to fans.
Totally. He wasn't afraid to poke fun at himself.
Yep.
And, by doing that, he kind of gave everyone else permission to do the same.
It's true.
It's a good reminder that it's okay not to take ourselves too seriously, right?
Mm.
We all make mistakes. We all have flaws. And sometimes the best way to deal with life is to just laugh at yourself.
I completely agree.
And his humor wasn't mean-spirited or cynical.
Not at all.
It was always good-natured and playful.
Yeah.
He had this amazing ability to find the funny side of any situation.
He did.
And he always did it in a way that made people feel good.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about his authenticity, his loyalty, his humor.
Right.
What about his legacy as a broadcaster? How did he influence, the way baseball is broadcast today?
Oh, he was a true pioneer. Yeah. He brought this level of humor and personality to the booth that was pretty uncommon back then.
I can see that.
He understood that baseball broadcasting wasn't just about describing the plays, it was about creating an experience for the listener.
Right.
He wanted to make it fun, engaging, informative, the whole package.
So he was like that friend you want to watch the game with.
Exact.
Someone who knew the game inside and out, but could also make you laugh even when your team was losing.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't shy away from criticizing the Brewers when they deserved it either.
Right.
But he always did it with a twinkle in his eye, like he was ribbing a close friend.
He knew how to walk that line
He did.
between being critical and being entertaining.
Absolutely.
And he inspired a whole generation of broadcasters who followed him.
He did. He really did. He showed them that it was okay to have a personality, to bring some humor into the broadcast, to connect with the audience on a personal level.
Yeah.
He broke down those walls between the booth and the fans.
That's amazing. And his legacy, it goes beyond just baseball.
It does.
He had a real impact on the city of Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. He was a true ambassador for that city.
He was involved in so many charities.
Countless charity.
And he always spoke so fondly of Milwaukee, even after he achieved national fame.
He did.
Never forgot his roots.
Never.
That statue outside the Brewers Stadium, it's a real testament to his enduring legacy.
It is.
It's a symbol of his connection to the city, his love for the game, and just his ability to make people smile.
Yeah. And even though he's gone now, his spirit lives on in the hearts of Brewers fans.
Yeah.
And in the city he called home.
Bob Uecker was one of a kind,
One of a kind.
and we were lucky to have him.
We were.
He taught us to embrace life with humor and humility,
Yeah.
to stay true to ourselves, and to find joy in the simple things.
And his story really reminds us that even an average baseball player can leave an extraordinary mark on the world.
Well said. That wraps up our deep dive into the life and legacy of Bob Uecker.
It was a good one.
We hope you enjoyed the journey
I did.
and gained a deeper appreciation for this remarkable man.
Absolutely.
And if you did, we'd love for you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future deep dives.
Yeah, do.
We've got lots more fascinating stories to share.
We do.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep laughing.